Greetings, TVR2A. This is your final lab walkthrough of the final project, which is called the 4-Minute Show. This is the last lab we'll be doing. This is a video that's being done on a PC laptop using Pro Tools Intro. And I'll be going from the beginning and then pausing the video and then showing what it should look like when it's finished. This is your final lab. You will need access to all of your prior bounce mixes. There's a total of 6. If for any reason you don't have all 6, for example, you never turned it in or something or lost it, you do have the ability to download some emergency files that I've included here in the zip file. Those will be all of my versions of the mixes, and you can use those if you need. However, take note, you will lose 10% of your final project grade for each emergency file that you need to use. So in essence, don't download this zip file unless you absolutely have to. You should have all 6 of those files. What I would do is, and what I have done, is I went ahead and created a folder on my desktop that I'll show you real quick here. And in that folder, I called it Bounces for the Final. Inside of that folder, I went ahead and dragged all of those bounced MP3 files from the prior labs into it. And again, there's 6. There's the station ID, that's your voice with the Mambo music. There's the PT Edit number 1, which is the one with the glitch sound in it. There's PT Edit 2, which is the one that has the pigs and the bowling ball in it. There's a PT Edit 3, which is that 30-second comedy commercial. And then there's a PSA commercial. That's the one about the insurance. And that includes your own music bed that you composed and sampled and arranged. And then the last element will be the chopping wood mix, and that's the song. And you're going to be using all of these in this final project, and those should all be your files. All right, so I'll go ahead and collapse that again. All right, so this is the final module. You'll see it says Final Lab Project, a 4-minute show. Talks about the objective, talks about the files you'll need, and then I have some instructions on how to go ahead and get those lined up. You will want to pay very close attention to this aspect where it does say you will have 6 of those tracks plus 1 additional master fader track, and all of the typing here that's in bold, that should be the name of your tracks. Okay, so those should all be the name of your tracks. Whatever, if you drag and drop them in, they're going to create a track for you, and the name may or may not be correct, so you might have to modify it. If you actually go to File menu and choose Import Audio, you will then also need to create tracks in addition. So you have a few options on how you want to do it. Again, if you just drag and drop right from your folder on your desktop, Pro Tools will automatically create the track for you, though you may need to rename it. Okay, also make sure that you get them in the proper order. You will see I have the order listed here. Should go Station ID, Pro Tools Edit 1, Pro Tools Edit 2, Edit 3, PSA, and then it ends with the song. Then this whole thing will take exactly 4 minutes of project time. Don't go past 4 minutes and don't be too short. That is part of your grade. Once you have vertically aligned all of those, you want to move them around horizontally. It will sort of look like a stair step of sorts. If you make any mistakes, you can always do Command Z or Control Z. And then you are going to have some automated fades. Remember, the automated fade is different than using the fade tool. but you need to make sure you have a fade out using automation at the end of the station ID track. Also an automated fade out at the end of the edit number 2 track. So that means there's going to be a little bit of overlap when you go from those elements into whatever is next. And that's fine. A little bit of overlap is fine. You don't want dead space though. And you don't want to use the actual fade tool. And then the last bit of automation will be on your master fader track. That master fader track will be your main fade out at the end. In essence, you're using it to fade out the music because you're going to have the chopping wood track playing. And you're going to use as much of that track as you need in order to get you to that 4-minute mark. So if it's 30 seconds of music, and then you'll have the fade on the master fader, just making sure that it's fully silent at the 4-minute mark. And that's 4 minutes, no seconds. All right. And then in essence, after you're finished with that, you'll go ahead and answer these questions. In addition to answering those questions and submitting the MP3, you're also going to need to take a screenshot so that I can clearly see the edit window. And I want to make sure I can see all of those tracks. All right. So just keep that in mind, that that'll be your main submission. And you'll go ahead and create that zip file. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and launch Pro Tools and go ahead and do this. And Pro Tools is launched, and I'm at the new menu, and I'm going to go ahead and give this a name. I'm going to put my initial final. Make sure you confirm you're using Wave 16-bit 44.1. And for I/O settings, I always like to use Stereo Mix. And then go ahead and click Create. All right, so here I am at my blank edit window. Confirm that you're in slip mode, that you're using the Smart tool, and also that you're in minutes and seconds. So this section here where your counter is located at the top, make sure there's a check mark on min secs. Now you're ready to begin to bring in the audio. Now it is easiest if you just drag and drop. Or you can go through your file menu and go ahead and import it in. Either of those ways will work. I'll go ahead and go through the manual way to do it, which is through your file menu, just so you see how that looks. But you could technically just find your folder on the desktop where you have all of your Bounce MP3s. You could just click and drag and drop them right into this window, and it would go ahead and populate all the tracks you need. I'm going to go through File menu. I'm going to choose Import Audio. I'll navigate myself to the desktop, and I will look for the folder that I created that has my bounces for the final, which is right here. And I want to grab all of those. Click on the top one, hold the Shift key, and then click on the bottom one. And choose Convert Files. They should show up over here. They all have to be converted, by the way, because it's going into a Pro Tools session that's set up for Wave. So any audio that you bring in needs to be converted to the Wave format. Now I can go ahead and click Done. It's going to ask me where to put it. And here in the lower left-hand corner, just click Use Current Folder. Here it's going to ask me how I want to bring it in. And if I choose New Track, it'll go ahead and add the tracks for me. So I'll do that and click OK. You're going to see that it puts all of the tracks here. And I'm going to need to start dragging them around and also change some of the names. I'm also going to change the order, by the way, too. And I also need to add a new track. So maybe before I go any further, let's do Add Track. That's Shift Control letter N for new. And I want to go ahead and choose a stereo master fader. And it should put it at the bottom. Okay, that'll be my main output. Make sure that all your output is the same. Here it says it's speakers 1-2. if I go to my mixer also, I want to make sure that the outputs all match, and they shouldn't be italicized. Mine says speakers, your might say something else. We're not recording anything into this project, so the input is fine if it says no input. All right, I'm going to go back with control equals. I'm going to go ahead and pull these into an order. So I'm just going to click and drag the station ID. That's first. And then the edit number 1 is second. Edit 2 is third. Edit 3, fourth. PSA, fifth. Edit chopping wood. I'm going to rename this. I'm just going to call this song. So the name should look like this: station ID, PT edit 1, etc., PSA, and song. And then, or it says master. I also like to get rid of that number 1 and just backspace it. All right, so this is the point at which I'll go ahead and pause the video. And so I'll go ahead and set up this project, and then I'll bring it back and I'll show you what it should look like. And since this is your final project, you should be able to do all of this on your own. You don't need to watch me actually do that whole process. All right, so I'm going to pause it, and when I come back, you're going to see how it should look. All right, so I'm back, and you see the project is finished. I have everything going in order. I have automation lines happening on the station ID, on the PT edit number 2, and on the master fader track at the bottom. Yours should look basically like this. You should clearly be able to see the automation. And when I play these back, there should not be dead space or too much overlap, etc. So now really the last step is go ahead and do your bounce. You're going to grab from the 4 minutes. You're going to go all the way to the beginning. You do your bounce mix. You know the proper settings for that. So I'm not going to do that here. But make sure it is a stereo MP3 interleave file. And then the last thing you'll need to do is go ahead and do a screenshot of this page right here. So I can see all the tracks, and I can see the names, and I can see the automation, and you'll be submitting that as well. The screenshot is going to be hold Windows key and hit the F10, which says print screen. All right, you can go ahead and get out of Pro Tools. All right, I have my MP3 bounce here. I went ahead and just put this on the desktop for the ease of this video. Here's my screenshot. By the way, if you're not sure where the screenshot goes, you need to go to the pictures directory on your PC. And inside there, there'll be a folder that says screenshots. And in that folder will be your screenshot. Now, I did ask you to do a zip file. So instead of doing 2 different submissions, I want you to go ahead and just select those 2 files. You can draw a selection, and then you're going to do right click. And in there's an option where it says send to compress folder. You go ahead and do that. It shows up on the desktop. And then this is what you'll go ahead and submit to Canvas. Okay, so to go ahead and do that, go ahead and get this over here. So you go ahead and go to the top and go ahead and choose Start Assignment. Once you click Start Assignment, go ahead and find that rocket ship, and then grab that zip file that you created in the prior step, drag and drop it. Okay, that gets me the zip. See, it says right here, zip. But then in addition, you need to go ahead and click comments, and this is where you'll go ahead and respond to those 5 questions that are right here. So you go ahead and respond to those. Once you have all of your responses in, then you'll go ahead and click Submit Assignment, and then you're finished. And that's it. Congrats, and hope you've had a great semester. Take care.